You being you is so freeing for everybody else. But that's the fear we live in, is that somebody is going to not like who I am.
You are going to know me. You're going to know my strong points, but that also means you're going to know my weak points, and allowing people to be there for you at your lowest and your darkest.
I'm just there to say, it's going to be okay. You're going to make it.
And what's deep inside you, in your core that's been planted there, is what's going to come to the surface. So what are you planting?
That is the longing we have inside of us. Tell me who God says I am.
Welcome to Authentic You, a podcast brought to you by the Women of Jesus Culture.
Hey everybody, welcome to Authentic You. This is Becky here. You are about to hear our first ever live podcast recording. We recently had a women's retreat at Jesus Culture Sacramento that CJ headed up. It was a beautiful gathering. We just gathered with all the women of our church for a day of worship and teaching and fellowship, encouragement. It was beautiful. And during one of those sessions, we captured a live podcast. So it's about social media. We brought in our friend Katie Torwalt and just had a really candid discussion about the ups and downs of social media, the realities behind it, the pressure behind it. We did some Q&A with the women there, and it was just a really fun time and really relaxed, really casual. It was our first attempt at a live podcast, the first time we've recorded with an actual audience in front of us, and it was a lot of fun. So hope you guys enjoy it, and here it is.
Hi, you guys. Welcome to Authentic You. This is CJ Leapshire, and today we are live at our women's retreat for JC Sacramento, which I have said many times. Yes, there they are. There's like 3 of them. It's really exciting. No, just kidding. I've said before, we have the best women, and I'm sorry for all of you out there that aren't a part of it, but it is what it is.
But now they can be a part of it.
Yeah, oh, yeah, you're kind of a part of it, kind of.
Yes.
Kind of. I mean, we were snotting together this morning, and they weren't a part of that. That was really good. So, what we are going to do is we are going to be discussing social media, but we invited Katie Torwalt here with us.
Good to be here.
Yes, and we have our normals. We've got Becky Johnson and Erica Meiber.
Oh, hi, guys.
Yeah. Wow, we're getting really awesome pity claps. Thank you guys.
You guys aren't as cool as me.
No, not at all.
No, okay. We know this.
This is what it is.
It's okay.
Well, I will say that one of my favorite things about doing this podcast when we had the conversation is that, like you said kind of earlier, is none of us really know. This is all kind of evolving, and it was so much of a conversation, a discussion where we were just kind of asking each other questions, trying to see from different perspectives, and then kind of asking each other, what's your experience been? Becky's experience with social media is different than yours. It's different than mine. And then you guys have a unique perspective, having teenagers, having even preteens or whatever. And maybe there's some of you guys in this room that are not social media is not a big part of your life, but you see the effect that it's having on people that you love, or people if you're raising children. And now being I'm pregnant with a little girl, and I'm really excited. And I'm also scared because we live in a different day and age than I grew up in even. Yeah. And as much as I love social media, as much as I love the culture that we've created, and I'm so thankful to be alive in this generation and everything, I am nervous about some of the things that we discussed affecting her, and that she'll just grow up so differently than me. Yeah. And boys too, little boys and little girls. And so that was kind of one of my favorite things, talking to you guys about it, to see how you view it and the way that you view it as parents. And so I'm excited to talk about that today.
It's gonna
get some more insight. I've had a lot of conversations with some different friends and stuff since we did the podcast originally. I think it was a couple months ago, and friends that are really active on social media, or that's a big part of their life, and then friends that just don't use it, have had to kind of cut it out just to be in a healthy place. And so I'm really interested to see where you guys have even kind of evolved since we last talked about it.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
And to hear your guys' questions.
Yes, it's going to be good.
It's going to be good. So that's why we're doing this, because it kind of came up, and I'm a youth pastor, so social media is pretty much all we talk about. I asked my kids what they're tired of hearing about and what they need to hear more of, and the number one thing that they're sick of hearing about is they're we're tired of hearing how social media is the devil, we know we shouldn't send nudes, blah, 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 blah. I'm okay, then why are you doing it? Then stop it. But it's just they're like, my mom's always telling me, like, get off social media, don't spend so much time on it, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, which I thought was so telling of the way that we're discussing it with our kids actually isn't working because they're tuning us out. So how are we going to talk about it in a way that's, we're not like criminalizing, like, okay, it's kind of like what the church does. We make something so terrible you can never talk about it, and then kids are left to discover it on their own, like things like sex or, other things that we don't talk about because we make it so bad. So for social media, we have to have this conversation. We have to own it and figure out, okay, it's here. Like, it's not going away. It's here, and there's only more social media platforms coming up, and all of our kids have it. And, I even say, my kid's never going to have a cell phone. Of course, she is eventually going to have a cell phone, and I'm going to have to figure out how do I walk her through, how to handle it healthfully. So that's why I wanted to have this conversation. And I love what CJ did in bringing, Katie, who is like social media queen, is amazing at it. No, she's amazing. We all follow her, right? She's amazing at it.
Yes.
She inspires me. It's beautiful. So good. And then you have the people who are non-existent on it, but I call them creepers because, listen, they don't post, so you forget they're there, but they watch all your stuff. Heather,
always watching.
I know what you're doing.
And so I'm like, ooh, like there's a lot of creepers that follow you guys that you don't even know they're following you, but they are. And CJ and Erica are them. And then there's me who I'm manic with it. So I'm like, I'm going to post every day, and I'm going to be social media. And then I'm like, it's the devil, I've deleted it for 2 weeks. And then I'm like, it makes me so insecure, I don't know who I am. And I love who I am on social media, it's amazing. Like, I cannot figure it out. I am trying, dear God,
you just described every single person that has any kind of social media.
Oh my gosh. So I'm like, half the time it makes me want to crawl into a hole, and half the time it inspires me to be like my most creative self, and I don't. So anyway, there's lots of different perspectives up here about it, but
there really is. I'm like Nazi. I want to control everything, so I get 0 notifications of anything on my phone because I can't stand the little red thing. So I'm like, only close friends basically can talk to me. Nobody else can find me, except if you're a close friend. If you're not a close friend, you never find me.
It's a code name. It's Baraka Scheiberg. That's who she is on social media.
Like on Instagram, I'm like,
and her picture is her with the wig, so you would never know it's her.
No. And if you want to be my friend, I'm like, if I don't really know who you are, I just delete. So I've got so much control over what even gets to me. But yeah, I also stalk. It is what it is.
That's great.
That's what a lot of people do.
So something that, as we had the conversation, which was so freeing for me, is what I described. Like let's be honest, 99% of the time when I'm scrolling, I battle insecurity. That's probably the biggest thing for me. Jealousy for sure. Comparison and insecurity, though, like plagues me. Yeah. And when we were talking, and they were like, and Katie was like, yeah, me too. I was like, can you just say that one more time? Like, and really, when you have an honest conversation with people about it, with women about it, we all are battling with it at some level. And so we discuss, okay, it's there, but that doesn't make it bad. That's not, that's my issue. And what it does is it can either deteriorate me and trip me up and send me spinning, or I can go to the Lord and go like, why do I feel insecure when I see this person's feed? Like, what about it? Oh, it actually makes me feel like I'm not this enough, or it makes me feel like I am this too much. And then I get to go on a journey with the Lord, and I make it sound really spiritual. Most of the time it's me complaining to one of them, and then complaining to my husband, and then my husband like, you need to go spend time with Jesus. And I'm like, what is,
I'm like, why do you still follow that person? You actually deleted them 2 months ago. Why are you re-following that person?
And yes. But it was just so like validating, like, okay, we're all feeling this way, and it's okay. Then we're human. It's normal. And you guys talked about you didn't have this issue growing up because it wasn't social media wasn't a thing, and so that comparison thing was way less than it is with like us today.
Oh, it's so different raising teenagers this way. I mean, I spend most vacation days taking pictures of them with their hands in the right position, like, get my hand in the water. I'm all right. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't think we've ever seen anything since we got social media. It's just pictures of where we've been, but they don't know where we've been or what we did. They're like, I remember.
My Emma and Raya, CJ's daughter, went to Justin Bieber, the concert. So CJ and I had to accompany them. We ended up sitting in the back row, falling asleep. Like I wasn't really moved, but
we couldn't hear it.
And we couldn't hear because all the screaming. And then Emma, my youngest, who is 14, super excited, but she basically wailed and mourned for 2 days after the concert because she recorded the whole thing. And so she cried about the fact that she watched Justin Bieber at the concert through her phone. Like this. No. She saw the concert like this.
And then afterwards she was sad.
And afterwards she was devastated because she missed the concert.
Yeah, it's true. The struggle is real.
It's real.
Failure as a parent.
Well, my favorite was you guys went to Hawaii.
Yes.
And I asked Emma, I said, Emma, are you so excited? And she goes, I'm going to take a picture of myself walking, holding somebody's hand like this.
That is the class.
And we've got long sleeve shirts. And I'm like, you're going to Hawaii. The humidity is sky high. I'm like, but now I have a long sleeve shirt. She's got the outfits.
For the pictures for Hawaii.
Yeah.
I laughed.
Pressure. Big pressure on us.
And I have found out I'm a bad photographer because every time my kids want pictures, they're like, you are the worst ever. Like, who takes a picture at that angle? I'm like, it is your hand in the water. Who cares?
So as moms of teenagers who are on this thing all the time, what are some of the themes that are popping up that you're figuring out like, okay, gosh, I didn't deal with this as a teenager, but my kid is because of social media?
Well, I think the biggest one that I saw so clearly recently, and it made my heart so sad. So, like, our kids are beautiful, you know? Like they should feel gorgeous at this age. And here's my 15-year-old, and she... You know, people know how to pose and edit their pictures so that their bodies look like they have no waist. And right now, the cool thing is to have a big butt, which cracks me up because that was not cool when we were... And all I have to hear from my children is how you don't even have a butt, Mom. Like, oh my gosh, where did your butt go? I'm like...
Gravity.
Do we really have to discuss my butt? Like, I don't want to discuss my butt anymore. Anyway...
I love it.
Raya was sitting there talking to me like super sad. I mean, this is silly, but about Kylie Jenner. And she's like, how does she have such a tiny waist and a big butt? And I was like, I had no idea that she thought that was real. I'm like, honey, that does not come without a whole lot of money. And there's stuff stuck in there to make it look like that. But I mean, they're what feels like common sense to us, they are seeing these pictures and they don't know
it's
to
their
take
reality.
the next step. Of like that takes surgery, that takes somebody showing you how to do that. That takes like this
Photoshop.
Editing. Like they're not showing the ugly parts, but she's like she's crying, and I'm like looking at her going, "You feel insecure?" Like when I was 15, I had no grit. I wasn't awesome. Now I was special that way. I thought I was pretty awesome. So I know people don't all think that way, but I was like, I'm so cool. But I mean. I think if I was looking at other people's bodies all the time, I probably would have doubted myself. You know, like, oh, you're right. Why do I have a pudgy over my pants? That's embarrassing. But instead I was like, everyone has a roll over their pants, I'm sure.
So is your response as a mom to say, all right, Raya, stop looking at it? Or,
and I usually yell at her.
Or like what do you do? How do you walk her through that?
Or what do you hope? What kind of accounts or people are you wanting her to follow and kind of pushing her toward? Is there any positivity that she can?
I haven't thought of it that way. I try to talk to her about real. Yeah. Like I try to look at the stuff and say like that's not real. Yeah. And then look at her friends, like because you know. When you really get down to what so many girls, I think, why they post what they post, it's just for approval and acceptance and how many likes and how many, oh my gosh, so-and-so said you look good. You know, like whatever it is. And so just kind of asking her, like, why? Why do you want to say that? Why do you want a picture that shows your stomach? Why? Like, what is your why? And are you okay with your answer?
Yeah, I think conversation for us, we are parents. We're not perfect, of course, but we want to be connected to our kids, so we pursue them. And I have my middle girl is 17, and she is she's not built like me. She's a little bit bigger and just a fuller body. And this lady actually posted something about exercise, and then, you know, the hashtags that to me is like I got to spend 20 minutes to come up with a cool hashtag. And anyway, so it was something about her. We're just going to be straight. Hey, we can talk honest. Yeah. It was something about exercising her bum. And she said something in the hashtag about my husband is happy, or it makes him happy. And I was super unhappy about that, because I have a young girl who doesn't look like a stick at all. And I'm like, honey, when you get married and you have a husband that loves you, it doesn't matter how your bum looks.
Mm-hmm. It's so good.
In the end, we've been married for 21 years, and my husband thinks my bum that has gravity has done a number on it still thinks it is the greatest thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so what that spoke is like, that's not real. It is young people that they want authentic, they want real, they want love, but we live in a world that puts this to the forefront. Now, if you work hard on your bum, you're going to get a husband or a boyfriend and love and so on. And that is not true.
Yeah.
It is not real. So I helped her, and as a mom, I was like, you're not old enough necessarily to make, you don't even know what to wear before school, so I'm going to tell you, unfollow that person.
Yeah.
We love her. I don't want you to see that, because that is not, I don't agree with that. I don't think this is what you need right now, that kind of influence. And we had a conversation. So I think what we're trying to say is like, it opens up conversation, and but I also have to pursue my goals, and we have to, like, you know, constantly paint a picture of, but what is real? What is the truth? Like, I have to tell my kids, well, honey, you look at Kylie Jenner and all these shows that you watch, or the things, and like, but look at me and Dad. So we've been married for 21 years. Do we still look like we love and like each other? Is this what you want, or is it this this airy-fairy picture that they get? So it warrants conversation. Like, we have to talk. We have to help our kids connect with the truth. And I also feel like, as where we are at as parents right now, it is the young people, they don't have examples anymore of what healthy looks like. How many young, like my kids have friends, hardly any of them come from homes where mom and dad are still together. So there's a lot of fatherless families. And so it's a real thing. It's a real thing that there are broken families. But the young people, there aren't enough examples of how does it look? Where is the marriage of two people that are still together and actually look like they like each other? You know, where are those people? So for me, I feel like we need to, it's our job in this case. Like, somehow we need to, like, show them, like, or connect them with, this is how it looks, honey. I'm like, Emma, look at CJ and Benny. 20 years, they still look like they love each other, like each other's company. So I'm looking for examples, and I feel like it's our job. Right now, where I am
not social media.
No, it's not social media, because social media does the opposite, you know, and that's the negative part. I would love to chat with Katie, because you have a positive. We're not saying it's bad. We're just saying this is how we have to navigate it with these young kids, that they completely disconnected from what is real, and good examples. But it's going to come from us. We have to step up and have the conversation. And, you know, despite the fact that it makes us nervous, because I'm like, I don't know what to post, or,
It also opens up this weird door within them, I think, of like, I either love and have to completely agree with everything this person says, or I have to hate them. And you're like, oh, actually, you can love them, but where they're at right now isn't a good place for you.
Yeah.
And
or I know them. I know them because I follow them.
Yes.
I know all about them.
You don't know them.
But
if you follow them, you don't know them.
So then you have to make a judgment. Like you said, either I love everything about them or nothing at all.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know about, I have somebody I highly respect that I saw a post yesterday that absolutely freaked me out.
I'm sorry.
And it was Becky.
Sorry.
Miss Becky.
I'm so sorry.
It's not necessarily, it wasn't her fault. It wasn't even her bad, but it's recognizing, like, we have to manage ourselves.
Yes.
And so we have to teach our kids to manage themselves.
Yeah.
And I mean, would you allow them to allow anybody to hang out with them? You know, if there's somebody going through something or whatever, they're into something that you don't think is good for your kid, you got to help them do it without vilifying somebody. Like, well, that person is evil, so therefore, which I really think our culture has done. It's like, I either fully accept you or I hate you. And I feel like that is not a place I want my kids to live.
Yeah.
Like, no, okay, we don't need to go around and say the Jenners are evil. Actually, this is, well, that's probably a bad example. But no, I don't know them that way with anybody.
Yeah.
But I do talk to her about like, hey, does this fill you up in any way?
Yeah.
Do you feel good about yourself ever when you look at this stuff?
And she's saying a really important thing. We have to teach them to manage themselves, but we have to manage ourselves.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful that my daughter's only 5 right now because I have a lot of room and I've got a lot of work left to do on managing myself with social media. And something that completely challenged me and really turned things around for me and what I was dealing with was CJ challenging me a couple years ago. I'm talking about, right, we all have that person. I'm like, her life's perfect. Her house is always clean, and I just don't, I'm seeing the corner of her house in the perfect light at the right time of day, the 1 minute that it was clean. And I think this is how her house is all the time, and I'm a terrible wife and housekeeper because I can't do that. And I'm clean, guys.
She's so clean, you guys don't even know.
And I'm struggling with these feeds or the moms with the kids who eat the paleo. Oh, joy. My kid, it just like is a carb. My kid is a carb. Like just noodles and bread and brown.
She'll be okay.
And so then the moms are like, well, little Sammy ate broccoli with a smoothie with avocado and spinach. And I'm like, what? I'm killing Lucy. Like that's what I'm doing. And I'm like downward spiral, right? You're laughing because it's true. And I'm just like, I'm a terrible mom. I don't have the clean house. And Lucy, the only green thing that she eats is her boogers. Like, oh my gosh. And so I'm like,
that's fine.
I'm lamenting her.
She's okay.
And it's not these people that's the issue. It's my insecurity. It's my tender spots. And she goes, just simple. She's like, so unfollow them. And I was like, right, the air left my body. Like, you can't unfollow them because that's what my generation has learned. If you follow them, you can't unfollow them. Oh my gosh, what would they say? And that's so mean and and I like them. And she's like, you can still be their friend. You don't have to follow them. It's making it's hurting your friendship with them because now you're judgy and all this nasty stuff is coming out in you. Unfollow them. And it was so hard for me to wrap my head around that that's okay. And I'm like, oh my gosh. She goes, is your friendship based on this following? Like, and is that even a strong friendship? Just unfollow them and you're fine and move on. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I did. And it's so much better. I don't see what little Sammy eats for lunch or breakfast anymore at all. And it's amazing. And Lucy's eating her carbs. And I don't worry about what salad that kid is eating. And we're just living our life. And I'm okay. And the amazing thing is I'm still friends with that girl. I see her. I'm like, hey, da-da-da. But I don't need to know what her kid's eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But then I have another friend who follows her, and she's so inspired by how her toddler's eating. Yes. It's a completely different experience for her. She's like, oh my gosh, like we're trying to eat healthy now, and seeing her feed her kid this is inspiring me and empowering me. So right there's no right or wrong. Yeah. But if I'm not willing to be honest with myself and go, it's actually hurting me right now. I'm not in a place that I'm not confident in this place. I'm insecure. I just need to go for a second. And so I challenge my youth kids all the time because they all have that person that they like, that best friend that they hate on Instagram. I'm like, unfollow them. Well, then we won't be friends anymore. Well, then you're not friends. Like, then you're not for real friends. Just unfollow them. Get that out of your face for a minute so you can actually walk in confidence, love yourself, and then you'll love that person more if you don't follow
or be
them.
Friends in real life.
Yes.
And then the cherry on top is when you get to see, you are in San Diego. I'm so excited for you because we were just hanging out the other day and I know that you needed a vacation so bad and that your kid wasn't sleeping, it wasn't eating what you needed. And now look I just saw your kid eat broccoli. Yay!
No, totally.
And so I feel like for me, that's been a huge key is like, what does your life look like outside of social media? What is that? Because that's what this brings up for me over and over and over and over again. What does your real life look like? And then what you're doing with your social media, your online presence, that's just the tiny little, top of the iceberg. And for me, that tempers all the insecurity, all the need for like being valued by people online. Did this post get a lot of likes? Did this person respond? Did this person whatever? Well, I need that less when I have real people in my life that are actually like know me and they can, they're there for me. That void is somewhat filled. And then I'm not searching so much for that. But I'm curious too. We talked on the last podcast and something that's, I don't have a teenage daughter yet. Some of you guys look younger in here, so you probably don't either. And I did grow up with body positivity issues. I had anorexia as like a 20-year-old. In ministry school, like I loved the Lord, amazing parents, like couldn't have been better, couldn't have been more encouraging to me. And still I struggled with this, and I didn't have Instagram. And so now, seeing, we've already been talking about this for a while, but seeing like the comparison issue outside of just what is my kid eating? What is my teenager looking at? But as women, we already struggle with comparison, and then being inundated with those images over and over and over and over again, and we can't stop looking, and we like it, and it's inspiring. And so how can we do better, I guess, at just using our Instagram presence or what we do, even if you're not an influencer or something like that, using what we have, our platform, to encourage each other, to actually bring each other into a different phase, even as women. There's an Instagram account that I follow right now that's like a huge advocate for body positivity, and that's actually, to have a positive spin on this, it's becoming much more rampant, I guess, throughout social media to be different sizes, different colors, different shapes.
Yes.
Don't Photoshop that cellulite out. Leave the stretch marks in. Aerie, like a company that you guys might have seen before in like local malls, they don't Photoshop their pictures. There'll be a girl that's a size 16 in a cute swimsuit, and they're selling the swimsuits, so it's working.
That's really cool. Because that's what real people.
Yeah, and so I feel like, so this is the positive spin for our generation, is that, where I had maybe Vogue magazine or like People magazine to look at, there are becoming more popular accounts and influencers and stuff that don't all look the same, that don't all have the same body type or whatever, that are blowing up. It's going viral.
That's amazing.
And so for me, that's been like a positive aspect of what we do. But as like an influencer myself too, and I don't even know what that term means,
said,
but
like if you're not an influencer, we even at church say like it doesn't matter if you're all influencers. Yeah. So if you have 3 followers, then you are influencing 3 people. Yeah. If you have 70,000, then you're influencing 70,000. So look and take that seriously, because those people are following you for a reason. They're being influenced by what you post and what you say, and so we all have a measure of influence. Some's bigger and some smaller.
Absolutely, and that's like real life, and then your your social media life or whatever. So, but I think that's like a huge aspect of it for me. I wanted to talk somewhat about the positives, because I had just a discussion like a couple days ago or something with the social media manager of Jesus Culture, and we were talking about how cool it was to see God even through social media. Recently, there was a little boy from Bethel Church that he was really, really sick, and he's actually completely better now, which is amazing. But yeah, it was a miracle. It was. But during that time, like in real time, we kind of got to see this miracle play out because of social media. And we got to ask people to pray. They raised, I don't remember how many thousands of dollars, but to help the family. A lot of different things happened, and that was facilitated through social media. And I was like, well, that's a huge positive. Like for us in our generation, we would not have been able to do that. You could ask your community, and that's what our communities are for anyways. But this little family, they were able to have this support that meant probably a lot to them at that time because of the social media. And one of my best friends, Shannon Williams, her little girl was in the hospital. Her baby girl was in the hospital. It's been about 4 years ago. And this was one of my first experiences with like a real positive moment with social media. But her little girl also she had bacterial meningitis at 3 weeks old, and she was in the NICU, and it was really, really bad. And it was their fourth little girl. And she had, as a mom, it's just hard to keep your peace during that time. It's hard to keep the truth in front of you because literally every hour there was a doctor coming in being like, well, it doesn't look good and this is what you can expect and here's worst case scenario. And that's their job, so we understand that. But one of the things, I think it was the Holy Spirit at the time, but something in me was like, go to your Instagram, ask people to start sending you testimonies, whether it's related specifically to this or it's just another testimony where God did something crazy. And we're going to read these stories over this baby because we don't have any stories of our own right now of this type of healing, and we need them. And so, so many people sent in personal messages and stuff like that and comments. And we spent she was in the NICU for a month. We spent the next month seriously reading these same stories over and over, because what we believe in our culture too is that, testimonies release again, like who Jesus is, and they prophesy over our circumstances and just release the truth over us, build us up. And so that was like another huge positive. And I'm like, okay, so there are positive things to social media that we can use. We have access now and exposure to things we never would have 20 years ago. And so we don't want to throw everything out. We don't want to throw the good out with the bad either. And we want, and as an influencer or as a person that sometimes gets the privilege of speaking into people's lives, I'm like, how can I do that? How can that be better? And I know that for me too, I've seen different people online that have so encouraged me, and I've scrolled past a little quote or scrolled past an Insta video of a worship moment or something like that I needed right then. And it was just thank you, Jesus. But it is still the rare occasion, right? It's not it's probably not the 80% of the time, but for me, that's been some of the huge positives for social media. And then just being connected to people that I wouldn't have access to. Yeah.
And balancing it out. I think the biggest thing is managing ourselves and not looking for social media to validate yourself, but actually, we're not victims to social media. We actually get to be powerful. So we get to be powerful what we put out. We get to be powerful the message of who we are. But we also are powerful about what we constantly look at. And I remember I had a friend who she loved to put a strong opinion out all the time. I don't know if anybody has that. Strong opinion. And 90% of it was you are dead wrong. And I was angry at her, for a while. I was angry. We didn't live in the same place, so it was easy to be angry. And all of a sudden I'm like, why am I spending time angry at this person? Yeah. Because of opinions they have. And so I unfollowed her, and now I have happy feelings about her. And when I see her, I'm like, you're awesome, because I actually do believe in her, and she actually gets to walk that out, her journey out. It's not my job, so it's we live in this weird space of social media. I just think can mean more than it actually is in our lives. We give it way too much power. And I do have to say, Katie does it in such a way. This is a little gift of me. I still think I'm more awesome than I am, and in some areas, in other areas, I definitely have my struggles. But for some reason, I picture myself looking pretty good.
You do look good.
And then people take pictures of me, and I'm all,
you do look good.
No. I think I look like I'm 19. I could, still be in a bikini. And then I'm like, super unattractive. What's going on there? But you posted a picture of yourself in, this cute little, knit striped dress. Okay. I don't know when it was. And I told you, I was like, I like that. I bet I would look cute in that.
You would.
And then I tried on a t-shirt dress the other day at Old Navy that was not a tight knit dress. I shouldn't wear a tight knit dress. There are lumps and bumps that should not ever be
That's what Spanx are for, though.
Yeah, but I don't know how you wear Spanx. I can't breathe in Spanx. How do you all wear Spanx? I bought it one time, and I was like, I literally went into a public restroom and was trying to rip them off because I was sitting
just
there,
sweating and
I was like, I thought I was having like an asthma attack. It's like, how do you people squeeze it in? Like mine just flops over. It just is what it is. You people,
it's like trying to get out of a turtleneck that you just can't get out of, and you start to hyperventilate.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, it was horrendous.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I was naked in the bathroom, ripping this thing off. I don't even know what I did. She probably went with me.
It's for special occasions. Spanx are for special occasions. It's not an everyday thing.
I'll never forget it. It was your red dress you let me borrow for a Bethel fancy night. Oh my gosh.
She blames you,
I still
clearly.
remember it. Her dress like wrapped around me, and I was like,
convertible three-way dress.
I'm not
option.
sure how we got there.
No, I know.
It's social media's fault.
Let me help us.
You saw somebody wear it. You thought you could wear it. You looked different in it. It freaked you out. Then you compared yourself. What the heck?
I have many pregnant bellies on my body, not just one that
oh my
shoots
God.
out the front.
Hey, you know what? That's for me, that's been one of the most relevant things too, because this started out as a positive thing. So this is my first pregnancy. I'm so excited. Like I said, struggled in the past and still totally do with body image stuff sometimes. It comes up, it flares itself up sometimes. But it started out fun. If you've been pregnant before and you have social media, you can click hashtags, right? And so I'm like, okay, 20 weeks pregnant hashtag. Let me look. Let me look at other people that are 20 weeks pregnant. What are their lives like? What do they look like? How is their pregnancy going? And oh my gosh, it went downhill so fast. One of the reasons is because I am a kind of a high energy person, and I like to get stuff done. And when I was the first part of my pregnancy, I was really, really sick. And actually Becky struggled with the same thing. It's so crazy. It's kind of a rare thing, but just like the type of sick, not morning sickness. I mean, there's actually a name for it and everything, but it's like 20 times a day throwing up. Like you can't leave the house. I could not drive. I didn't leave my room one time for like 7 days. Brian just brought me like cups of ice, my husband Brian. And then, of course, being so genius, I'm like, let me look up other people that are at 16 weeks pregnant. And everybody's like feeling good in the best part of my pregnancy, feeling like a goddess, just glowing. And I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, automatically, I'm like, why does pregnancy suck for me? Like, I'm so disappointed. This is not what I thought it was going to be. It's never going to get better. And then every week, I'm like, 17 weeks pregnant, hashtag 18 weeks. And then finally, I realize I'm like, this is so ridiculous. Like, what am I doing? And it's just, it's just another aspect of that comparison thing. There's going to be something.
And I would have said, stop it, Katie.
You quit it with the hashtags. So then it's not even one person, though, that I'm looking at. I'm not looking at this one person's pregnancy and comparing it. I'm looking at everybody. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then my poor doctor, I go to my doctor and I'm like, well, this person at 17 weeks, could already do this, this, and this. They were feeling great. And she's like, who is this? And I'm like, it's just it's an acquaintance. It's an acquaintance. And, it's so funny how we live that life nowadays, right?
Totally. Right.
I mean, I feel like we can all relate to that in some way. Maybe it's not pregnancy,
but
it's like.
Everybody has something that they're looking at.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's the Pinterest, when you try to do the Pinterest picture, like all those Pinterest fails. Have you guys seen those? The meals. Yes. And I love for stuff to look like, one of the things I love about social media, and there's photographers, there's artists, I have an account that's just for like clothes and stuff because it's just a passion of mine. Like I like a deal. I love makeup. And so I have an account like dedicated to that. That's just started. I started it for my girlfriends that would be like, where is that sweater from? And so I would take a picture and be like, sweaters from Old Navy. It's on sale right now. I'll go get it. And it's become like people that I don't know personally and stuff. But Pinterest or anything, you see something and you're like inspired by the beautiful plated, salmon, and you're like, I'm going to cook this tonight for my husband. I'm going to plate it, take a picture. It's going to be for social media ready. And then you have all those Pinterest fails. Have you seen those? You've seen those.
Oh, I'm thoroughly entertained.
Or like a birthday
them.
Cake. Those are the best. Or, there's just so many.
I just want to say really quick, I don't ever look at those and think I can recreate them.
No.
No, like...
I feel like most people totally feel like I can totally do that.
I think most people do. I'm just letting you know.
You
I
don't.
am fully aware of my inadequacies.
I don't even know how to use Pinterest.
Yeah, she doesn't know how to use Pinterest.
It's so good. You
I'm
need
like,
to figure
why?
it out. We'll show you because it's actually really good.
Rabbits on Pinterest.
There's everything you could need.
Okay, I want to change gears a little bit here. I want to, you are someone who uses social media for business.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have thoughts about this. Yeah, you're great. I want to speak about the positive side. No. Cool. Because I feel like what I see with social media, there's a lot of people who have huge followings. And you talked, for instance, about somebody who posted something and they had an opinion, a strong opinion. I love it, sarcastically, when somebody posts something that's meant to rile up people, and then they freak out when people have a massive reaction. I'm like, you did it for reaction, and then they react, and then you freak out because of people, and, So what I see is especially people that use this for something, like either a business or ministry or whatever. Like what I would like to see as somebody that's on the other side is that when you post, you understand that you take responsibility for your post. Like the example that I used earlier with my daughter and the lady that we all look up to and admire, and she knows a lot and whatever, but I'm like, I want to see you own it. I want to see you understand when you're an influencer, you are a leader as well, and you take responsibility for what you say out there, because you understand, not like, because that's what a leader does. That's what an influencer does, that is aware of what they are doing. So another example, something that completely overwhelms me is the eating thing, healthy eating. The two of us, the best we can do is to cut out high fructose corn syrup. When that all started years ago, I was like, this is about it. And she has regressed. She eats it. I still read all the boxes, and I'm like, nope, you can't do that, can't eat that. But so these people that, again, they are leaders, they're worldwide, they have a massive following, and they post all about eating like paleo or whatever. And as a mom of teenagers, I know that you actually have to be a millionaire to afford all of that. Like I can't go to Whole Foods and buy all my stuff there for 3 teenagers. And you also have to not have a job, but you have to have money, because what I see, it's take hours to try out all these recipes that, like, I think it looks great in the end, but I'm like... It
does look good. You can make it
trial and error, and I'm like...
We need chefs. That's what we need.
So I've been overwhelmed for years, but I don't do high fructose corn syrup. So that's all I can say. So I'm going to be okay, apparently. But so this is the thing. So from somebody that doesn't know anything, that want to learn, I'm not teachable. I am, and I love exercising, like health. I want to learn. You know what I would appreciate is that depth of knowledge that you have, and that you have gotten from your trial and error and experience, show the rest of America, which is kind of 90% of us. How can you do that with, how can I eat healthy and buy my stuff at Walmart? Show me how to apply what you have learned in a way that is... manageable, and that will, it will help me. It doesn't help me when all you do is show us the bad stuff that can cause cancer, because I feel like pretty much everything.
It's overwhelming. That's overwhelming.
Like if you live in California, I think you can get cancer. That's what I see. I see.
We break that off you in Jesus' name.
But I mean, no. This is what you see out there. It's social media. It's people that they love health, and I love the knowledge that they have, but it doesn't help me. So I I want to see you own that. Like, be aware of your level of influence and help us, like, in a way, instead of scaring us to death and showing us stuff that, like, I don't have that kind of money. Just show me how to apply your knowledge and experience, because I want to learn, you know. And so that's what I look at. This is what I appreciate about Katie, or, like, you know, people that are aware of their level of influence. So I want us to, when we post, if you feel like this is something, you have something to say, because of course everybody has something to say.
I have a lot to say.
Yes, like Becky. But I'm like, we need to own it.
Yeah.
We need to be mature about it, and you need to own what you post. And if somebody gives you kickback for it, you got to suck it up, because you put it out there.
Yeah. Even if your heart is right and your intentions are right, sometimes you just say dumb stuff. And you're like, why did I say that? Or you don't think it's stupid, but somebody will come back and be like, hey, this affected me this way. And then it's really, really difficult to be like, oh my gosh, like, I didn't even think of that when I posted this. I promise, and I'm so sorry. How can I own that? How can I fix that? Hopefully we have a relationship outside of that. There's always going to be like troll people or whatever that just are going to be crazy. But real people in your life that you never would want to, like, a lot of those people, like, if they really knew, oh, that affected CJ's daughter that way, oh my gosh, that makes me think differently about posting that. And then it also can, like, kind of, the Holy Spirit can use that in your life for, like, well, why did you post it? And why did you caption it with, like, such a strong opinion, like, this is the way it is? That's something that the Holy Spirit's been working on me with different stuff. And I love following those accounts that are presented a certain way that's like, hey, this isn't the only way. This is just what I think right now. Yes. I'm not afraid to express what I think, but this is a discussion. Like, I don't know everything. Like, this is just where I'm at. And those are always my favorites to follow and stuff. And I think let's all just take a pledge that we can just be, like, open to taking responsibility for what we say offline and online, and how it affects people. I think we just have...
I'm going to send this podcast to a lot of my family members. Are you all thinking of the person, like, your random
everybody has, like, at least one person
that needs that? I'm
yeah.
Like, oh my God. Or my family loves to air our family drama on Facebook. Like, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, well, when your family doesn't come to the reunion and like, I'm like,
it's like vague, but not that vague.
Oh my gosh. No, what are you doing? Just, like, putting our family drama on Facebook. But it's okay.
My entire family doesn't know how to use social media.
God bless them.
Oh, amazing.
My poor mom over there. I don't know the last time you posted on Instagram, but if it is, it's like a chicken, which I like. But if my mom does follow you, she's the most faithful liker of anyone ever.
Yep.
She is. She will like all your posts.
CJ, I want you to speak to you. I love the way you see people that just share everything, like hard stuff on social media. Yeah,
what should we share and what should we not share?
Let me tell you all exactly what is okay and not okay to do.
Where is the line? Tell us.
Yeah, because I know it so well. Well, I mean, you guys have heard my journey walking through anxiety and learning. I mean, it used to be anybody I came in contact with, I'm like, I have anxiety, do you have the answer? And then just sliming myself with all their crazy things. Like, well, if you prayed 8 hours a day, anxiety wouldn't be there. Oh my gosh, really? Okay, I'll do that. Yeah, I mean, but so I've been a little bit grieved because right now I feel like there is a little bit of a theme going through social media or on the air of people walking in this very raw, authentic place, which is like beautiful. Obviously, you guys hear me. I love authenticity. I love real. I love this. But there's this point where you're like, who are you sharing this with and why? Yeah. Like, why does the world need to know this piece of your journey? Or like for me, I take it very serious when I sit and share what God has done in my life, and I don't want to be flippant or put anything on anybody else that I don't truly know. Like, I don't want to tell you guys something that I don't know if that's His truth.
Yeah.
What if this is just my journey and I'm not through to the answer, but I told you guys part of the journey as the answer. And now I've led a whole bunch of people astray on stuff that's my responsibility. So I see these women that are sharing this journey of like love and who I am, and like Glennon Doyle Melton, she's written a book on anxiety, and I'm like reading it and I'm like loving stuff she's posting. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, I understand what she's saying about anxiety. And then she starts sharing this journey of like her journey of love and finding acceptance for herself. And I'm watching all these people and I'm going, I know what it is to be that vulnerable person who, when somebody says, like, you feel understood by what they're saying about a very raw thing in your life, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, now this person who I've connected to is now saying this, saying it's like she's divorcing her husband, now she married another woman, and she's raising her children with this other woman, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's just this, and she's just taking all of us along the journey with her, and she's saying it with like this broad truth, like, well, this is what it is, and I'm like, wait, I don't think you know, and I don't think you have the right to speak it out to everybody as truth. And I think we can mix the reality of like sharing your story to becoming truth that you're preaching at people.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it gets weird, and it pushes a weird button in me of like, wait a second, that's just your journey where you're at, and you need a filter, girl. Like, you need
3 close girlfriends.
Yeah, you need somebody going, hold on a second. Like, I don't know if you've got that yet. Like, you've still got more to your story. But you're standing on a platform now preaching it like it's done. And I think part of that, it's not made to be broadcasted every step. Like, take some time. Churn it over. Think about it. I mean, this is a different note, but like, social justice, what is going on, matters deeply to me. But I don't know the answer. And I know people say it's bad to be silent, but I am silent for a reason, because I don't want to be flippant with what I say. I am aware of my level of influence. I am aware, and I'm small. I have like 2,000 people that follow me because I don't even know what to post. But I am not flippant with it because I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to lead anybody down any path that is not God's way of seeing something. And I just feel like we need to do that with every area. Like, am I aware of, like, I mean, I don't know for you guys, it's skipping to a different thing, but like, it's scary when people post things like, oh my gosh, if you eat too much cereal or dairy, you're like filling your gut with something bad, bacteria or something. I'm like, really? Oh crap, my kids are doomed because all they eat is sugar cereal and real dairy milk because organic is $8 a gallon. You know, like, I don't know. I mean, like, it's okay to like, hey, this is what's best, but when you bring it with fear, I think you have to own that. Like,
that's really good.
What is my message? What am I trying to say? Am I okay if somebody disagrees with me? I love that. That is, Erica and I do spend time trolling. We find it super funny when somebody's super mad that somebody's disagreed with them. Like, totally. That's super funny.
I'm like, you asked for it.
One more.
Whatever. Like, if you don't eat organic, your hands are going to fall off. And people are like, your hands will not fall off. And then they're like fighting or whatever. And
they're like, this is my platform. You don't get an opinion here.
Love that. One note on that, and then we can wrap that up if you want, and we can do the Q&A. But just something vulnerably for me. So I struggle with depression. That's like my, her like anxiety. Mine's depression, and I have to fight that thing. And it is what it is, and I'm, figuring it out. But somebody had posted, or many people have this thing of like, it is a choice. Joy is a choice. Choose joy. And they buy me the mug. Choose joy. And depression is just one Bible verse away. And I'm at home like, no, like, wait, what is wrong with me? It's a choice? Like, I don't feel like it's a choice. I am actually having a chemical issue here and a family issue, and it is real for me. And so here's this person saying, here's the solution to your depression. You should be a better Christian and just choose joy. And not thinking of the hundreds of millions of women who are like me out there. It's like, actually, I can't just choose joy, okay? Thank you so much for making me feel small in my journey. And, like, that's important to, in just the same way, I would not walk into Trader Joe's and go, you're all, choose joy, everybody. If you're depressed in here, you just need to read Proverbs and Psalms. And that's what we do. That's the equivalent of getting on social media and shouting your opinion. Trump sucks. You don't just go into Winco or Safeway or the mall and just start spouting off your opinion on whatever color lives matter or who's the president or what you should be eating. I don't go into Starbucks. You pumpkin spice latte drinkers are all going to get cancer. But I'll post it.
Yes.
It's crazy.
It's really good.
We have to stop. And it's desensitized because now we're behind a screen and now we're not, so that person who posts, your depression is a choice.
Yeah.
They don't see me on my couch crying.
Yeah.
Trying to pull myself together for my family. Trying to figure out what medication works and what counselor works and what I need to do in my journey to battle this thing. And now you have just blurted your opinion with broad truth. And you have deeply affected me. And now I'm having to, work through this thing.
Yep.
So it's just just be human, be kind, be aware, I don't know.
No, I had a moment last night. It was so I am one, I was just telling Andrea in the back, I don't do a whole lot of inner healing ministry because I'm the one that walks away I think I might have that too. Do you? That spirit, I'm pretty sure I opened the door. I'm aware,
no.
I am that's not my gift.
No.
I'll sit down with you. I'm you're right. Fear is taking us down. We should all hide. I'm
no,
my battle. I am
no.
aware of my battle. And I'm there are other people gifted in that. It's not me. If you need somebody to cry with you, I'm that person. If you want somebody to kick your butt, you should call her. She'll do that. But
that's why you guys are friends, right there.
No.
Yeah,
yes, absolutely.
Real
she
friends.
kicked my butt for about 4 hours yesterday as I cried. Just walked along crying on the streets.
Oh my gosh.
In Habitburger. Anyway, I read a post on social media that was if you have a problem in any area, find the root, and then it'll be taken care of or whatever. And I'm all, what's my root? Oh my gosh. I don't know my root. I was completely thrown off for 45 minutes, beating myself up. And I'm all of a sudden I pulled out, what are you doing? And not that there's not truth to yes, there are definitely roots in our life that we have to deal with. But it's just so amazing what we can do, what we can allow when we're not managing ourselves, when we're weak in that moment to take on somebody else's simple, their journey in life. That's probably a powerful thing, and they need it at the moment. But I'm
I think we should preface every single post with, this is my journey.
I like that.
This is my process.
I might change my mind tomorrow.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Or tomorrow when I'm having a bad day, I might be scared of my own post.
So it sounds like as a poster, you got to own it, take responsibility. Yeah. As a reader, you got to manage your world. You got to manage your inner world, and if you have to delete it, you delete it. I delete people all the time. I'm
she does.
I do over and over again. I see you deleting me and then adding me,
and I'm is it true?
No, I don't know.
Good. Is it true? Have I done it?
Don't get those apps that say who unfollowed you.
No,
actually.
no.
That's a
Can
mistake.
you do that?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm
you want to know.
People do it. Yeah.
No,
we won't talk about it.
You're a glutton for
People actually
punishment.
haven't done
That's
it.
all I can say. No, I'm I gotta manage my world. I gotta manage whether it's social media or 101 or TV or whatever. I am responsible for managing my inner world, and I know that certain things I cannot afford. I cannot afford to let that affect me, let it in my head, and so the same things that I use with books and TV and people, social media, even so. So I'm I just said it. We're just responsible for our own cities. Bible talks about us as being like a city. So I'm responsible for what I let in that door through my city walls, and not. It's your job. It's nobody else's job but yours. And it really is a responsibility and a gift all at the same time. So you get to open and close that door. So there is it's on both of us, the poster and the reader.
Yeah.
It's your job. Yeah.
And we can't change anybody like anybody else, right? So
No,
we can only
you can't
manage
control
ourselves.
anybody.
Yeah.
You can't control. Like, we get mad about the whatever. You can't control them, but I can control me.
Yeah.
And I endeavor to keep myself in a healthy spot, to keep things in my head simple and good, so that I can be authentically me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm after to protect. Like, because I'm 45, and it took a long time in my life to get to a place where I like me and understand that God did a good job. So I am going to align with that and continue to do what it takes to protect that. Because the best gift we have, that is my thing, the best gift I have for you is to be me.
It's good.
So
and it
that's
can
what
free
we're
other
going
people,
after.
right? Like that can actually be like a ministry itself.
Yeah.
I think my question still, and I don't think we really have the answer to this all the way, but I would still like to hear what you guys think, is how do we invest in our outer world, our real world, better and just more efficiently, like in real relationships, so that way when we are going to be exposed to other stuff, it just has like such a little effect on us. You know what I mean? Like, how do we continue to grow our real relationships? You guys have an amazing friendship. You guys like balance each other out. You're accountable to each other. Like, how do we have those type of like women relationships, especially, but that we are so unaffected by little things like the person that comments. Yeah. It just doesn't matter as much to us.
I have a strong opinion about this.
Ooh,
go for it,
please.
I feel like you can't have that if you can't be honest. And I mean really honest. Like, I am amazed at the amount of people that I know that are struggling and choosing to do it alone. Yeah. And people have no idea where their life really is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, you don't need to broadcast that to everybody, but somebody's got to know. And if you're married, I would challenge you, somebody outside of your husband has got to know where you're really at.
That's
because you got to be able to call somebody. You got to be able to say, I am not doing okay today, without shame and without fear of judgment. Because, like, if you're afraid to tell somebody I'm not doing okay, you're not going to get help. You're not going to be encouraged. You have to be honest. And I understand that takes bravery. But, like, my house is not always clean. For some people, that is a big deal. But you got to be honest. Like, nobody's is. Like, figure out the reality, whatever it is that you have set up, this standard of life that you think you have to keep up, isn't true. And you have to figure out how to be honest. And I mean, hear me, you don't need to be honest with 45 people. Like, one or two. Find a couple people that you can really say, I'm not okay. I'm not okay.
That's good.
My kids are full of crap today. And
literally,
I mean, honestly,
you have to bleep that.
Like, I love being a mom. I adore my kids. There are some days I am like, ooh, this is going to be ugly. And if I didn't have, I will text her, like, my kids, they're going to lose it. I'm going to lock them outside. They are awful, awful children today. And it's great, though, is a lot of times she'll be like, I love Raya. She's my favorite Leapshire or whatever. And it kind of reminds you, like, that's right, I do like my kid.
She is great.
She just screamed and threw herself on the ground, and she's 15. But yeah, I like my kid. Whatever. But you gotta have real people in your life.
Yeah, that's good.
And it has to go beyond a small group that you meet with once a week. I'm like, that's a great place to start. That's where you start. You start with a coffee date. You start with a small group, whatever that looks like. And you just find somebody, and you know what? I've said this 1,000 times. You might find somebody, and it doesn't work out. You're like, you're my person, I love you. And then a week later, or 2 months later, they're like, yeah, no, you overwhelm me. Like, wow, you suck. But you know what? God has a great friend for you. He does, and it is not.
That's how I feel.
You can feel rejection, but you got to get over it quickly, because God has a friend for you.
It's good.
It really does.
And I would add to that, she's saying find somebody. Sometimes we do the opposite and we're like, well, I let Facebook know that I was having a crappy day and wanted to shoot, somebody. It's like, but how many times do I see those posts where I'm like, are you letting somebody actually know besides your status? Like, that's actually not community.
Yeah.
And sometimes we vent and we're like, I am being so open, but you're actually just on your couch. You haven't seen anybody in a week, but you're letting all of Facebook know how terrible you're doing. Yeah. But you're not letting somebody in.
It's not the same, right?
No,
at all.
You're not inviting somebody or asking someone to come over and sit with you on the couch. But you're fine to, and it's like that negative, it's that false sense of community. Like, well, I'm so open. I'm an open book. Everybody knows my bowel movements on Facebook. Is that gross? Too
That's
much.
what I'm going to start posting. Only my bowel movements.
Just your schedule.
But it's like,
you're like, I'm so
yeah,
known.
that doesn't really count though.
I'm so free.
It doesn't count when it's just there.
No,
Get somebody in your life. Get somebody in your life.
And it only feels good for like a day.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the next day you're like, nobody knows me. Like,
totally.
Nobody knows what's really going on in my life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so misunderstood.
You have a harsh reality when you are in a different time zone and all your people that support you on social media are still asleep.
Because your friends are.
You're like, who could I really call at this hour?
So true.
Get yourself a friend that you can call anytime.
Yeah.
Yep.
In the same time zone as you. That's another one of her requirements.
But she better stay awake. Yeah. Her friend fell asleep on the phone the other night.
Oh, you can forgive her though. Forgive her.
I love that.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was our first ever live podcast. So, we were figuring it out as we were going along. But we did it at the women's retreat that we just had. We talk a lot about the women's community here at Jesus Culture Sacramento. And that was our first ever retreat.
Oh, yes.
DJ, how was that for you? You kind of spearheaded that thing.
It was good. I mean, the women of our church amaze me. Every time we get together, they're hungry. They're so open and willing to walk through whatever the Lord's put in front of them. And we always have a good time. I met so many people that have made friends that they've never would have had before, besides coming and putting themselves out there and sharing their needs and sharing their heart. Now they've made lifelong friends from it. That was encouraging to hear. No, we had a good time.
Yeah, it was awesome. So that was our discussion on social media. And you hear us reference the other podcast that we did because we actually attempted to record that podcast with Katie before the retreat.
Yes.
And it was really good. And then we lost it. Technical difficulties. So we had to redo it. But that's what we were talking about when we said the other podcast that we recorded. So that was kind of take 2 on the talk on social media. And we hope you guys took something away from it. As always, like we said, we don't have the answers. We're just kind of discussing things, as we go along, right?
Yes. Oh, totally. And Erica and I, half of our podcast ideas come from us driving kids back and forth to sporting events or school issue stuff. And we always think the first run's the best. So it's always difficult to try to repeat your amazing insights that you have in the car on the freeway. But we tried.
Yes. So thanks for joining us for Authentic You. We love it. We love hanging out with you guys once a month. As always, leave us a review on iTunes if you like it. Tell a friend about it. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes. And we'll see you guys next time.